Hello friends, you've just unlocked another chapter of the past, hidden, untold, and waiting to be discovered. This is Buried Truths. Let's view the video. 50 insane Gettysburg facts that will blow your mind. 1. The battle lasted only 3 days. The Battle of Gettysburg was fought over just 3 days, July 1 to July 3, 1863. Despite the short duration, it became the Civil War's bloodiest battle with over 51,000 casualties, marking a turning point in American history. 2. More than 51,000 casualties. Gettysburg resulted in approximately 51,000 casualties, including dead, wounded, missing, and captured soldiers. It remains the bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil, highlighting the staggering human cost of the Civil War. 3. A town of just 2,400 was overwhelmed. The town of Gettysburg had only 2,400 residents before the battle. Afterward, thousands of wounded soldiers flooded its buildings, turning homes, churches, and schools into makeshift hospitals overnight. 4. Shoes sparked the battle. Confederate soldiers reportedly entered Gettysburg searching for shoes, as supply shortages plagued their army. This minor logistical need led to the massive and unintended confrontation that followed. 5. Robert E. Lee regretted the invasion. General Robert E. Lee later admitted the Gettysburg campaign was a mistake. He overestimated Confederate strength and underestimated Union resistance, leading to a devastating loss he couldn't reverse. 6. Gettysburg was not strategically chosen. Neither army intended to fight at Gettysburg. The battle happened more by accident than plan, as troops collided while maneuvering through Pennsylvania. 7. Over 500 tons of ammunition were fired. During the battle, more than 500 tons of ammunition were expended, including muskets, cannons, and artillery shells, enough firepower to be heard over 100 miles away. 8. Abraham Lincoln wasn't present at the battle. President Abraham Lincoln was not in Gettysburg during the battle. He only arrived months later to deliver the Gettysburg Address at the cemetery dedication in November 1863. 9. Pickett's charge was a suicide mission. On July 3, Confederate General George Pickett led a charge of 12,500 men across open ground against Union forces. It was a near-suicidal effort, resulting in massive Confederate losses. 10. Some soldiers were only 15 years old. Many of the soldiers who fought and died at Gettysburg were teenagers. Boys as young as 15 enlisted and fought bravely alongside older men. 11. The wheat field changed hands 6 times. A 20-acre field known as the wheat field was fought over so intensely that it changed hands 6 times in one day, becoming one of the bloodiest parts of the battle. 12. Over 3,000 horses died. Roughly 3,000 horses perished during the 3-day battle. Their bodies were burned in massive pyres after the fighting to prevent disease. 13. Civilian Jenny Wade was the only direct civilian casualty. 20-year-old Jenny Wade, baking bread in her kitchen, was killed by a stray bullet, the only civilian to die directly in the battle. 14. A Confederate sharpshooter's corpse became iconic. A photo of a Confederate sharpshooter's corpse taken in Devil's Den became one of the most famous images of Gettysburg, though the body may have been staged. 15. Some wounded lay untreated for days. Hundreds of wounded soldiers remained untreated for days due to overcrowding and chaos. Many died slow, painful deaths on the fields or in barns. 16. The cemetery was built months later. The Gettysburg National Cemetery wasn't established until November 1863, months after the battle. Bodies were initially buried in shallow graves across the fields. 17. The Gettysburg Address was just 272 words. Lincoln's legendary Gettysburg Address was only 272 words long, yet it became one of the most enduring speeches in American history, redefining the war's meaning. 18. The battle created a 17-mile-long front. The fighting at Gettysburg spread across a massive 17-mile front, stretching over hills, farms, forests, and fields, making it one of the most geographically widespread battles of the Civil War. 19. Many soldiers had no shoes. Thousands of Confederate soldiers fought barefoot due to supply shortages. Their feet bled as they marched over rough Pennsylvania terrain, a testament to their dire conditions. 20. It took months to bury the dead. Many bodies lay rotting in the heat for weeks. Burial crews struggled with the sheer number of corpses, and some were never properly identified or buried. 21. Women served as nurses. Hundreds of women, both civilians and volunteers from the north and south, served as nurses in Gettysburg, tending the wounded in homes, barns, and makeshift field hospitals. 22. Devil's Den was a slaughterhouse. The rocky outcrop known as Devil's Den saw fierce hand-to-hand combat. Bodies piled high, and sharpshooters picked off Union soldiers from concealed positions. 23. The Union held the high ground. Union forces held strategic high ground at Cemetery Hill and Little Round Top, giving them a major advantage throughout the battle and contributing to their ultimate victory. 24. Chamberlain's 20th Maine saved the flank. Colonel Joshua Chamberlain and the 20th Maine famously defended Little Round Top on July 2, holding the Union's far left flank in a desperate, heroic charge. 25. Confederate soldiers were buried separately. While Union dead were honored in the National Cemetery, most Confederate soldiers were buried in mass graves or reinterred years later in Southern cemeteries. 26. General Reynolds died on the first day. Union General John F. Reynolds, a key leader, was killed early on July 1. His death was a devastating blow to Union morale. 27. A mule was awarded for bravery. During the chaos, a Union Army mule reportedly kept carrying ammunition under heavy fire and was later awarded a humorous honorary rank. 28. The town became one big hospital. Churches, schools, and homes turned into hospitals, with bloody sheets hanging from windows to indicate wounded inside. The entire town smelled of blood and rot. 29. Clara Barton was present. Famed nurse Clara Barton came to Gettysburg days after the battle to help treat the wounded, establishing her legendary reputation for battlefield nursing. 30. Soldiers were buried with their enemies. Due to the massive death toll, some Union and Confederate soldiers were buried together in shared graves, particularly in remote field locations. 31. Many soldiers had no identification. Most Civil War soldiers had no dog tags. Thousands who died at Gettysburg were buried unidentified, with many marked only as unknown. 32. A Union general was killed by friendly fire. General Stephen Weed was mortally wounded by Union artillery misfire while defending Little Round Top, one of several incidents of accidental deaths. 33. Over 10,000 Union soldiers were captured. More than 10,000 Union troops were taken prisoner by Confederate forces, many of whom endured brutal conditions in southern POW camps after the battle. 34. Gettysburg had the first Civil War reunion. In 1869, Union and Confederate veterans returned to Gettysburg for one of the first reunions. Despite past enmity, they shared stories, food, and grief over fallen comrades. 35. Lincoln was not the main speaker. At the Gettysburg Cemetery dedication, the main speaker was Edward Everett, who spoke for 2 hours. Lincoln's short 2-minute address became far more memorable. 36. Lincoln's speech was criticized at first. The Gettysburg Address was initially criticized by some newspapers as inadequate. Only later did it become recognized as a masterpiece of American oratory. 37. A meteor shower occurred during the battle. During the night of July 3, a meteor shower was visible over Gettysburg. Soldiers later described it as a strange and eerie omen. 38. Black soldiers were not allowed to fight. At Gettysburg, African American soldiers were barred from combat. The Union still hadn't fully integrated its forces, despite the war being largely about slavery. 39. Lincoln traveled by train to Gettysburg. Abraham Lincoln took a slow and heavily guarded train to Gettysburg in November 1863, arriving just in time for the cemetery dedication. 40. Southern newspapers lied about victory. Confederate newspapers falsely claimed victory at Gettysburg to boost Southern morale. The truth slowly spread through letters and returning soldiers. 41. A thunderstorm followed the battle. On July 4, 1863, a violent thunderstorm swept Gettysburg, soaking the battlefield and disrupting both armies. Many saw it as divine judgment. 42. Over 500 cannons were used. More than 500 cannons roared across the fields of Gettysburg. Their thunderous blasts created the largest artillery barrage in the Western Hemisphere at that time. 43. Gettysburg was a turning point. The Union victory at Gettysburg halted Lee's northern invasion and began a steady Confederate decline, marking a strategic turning point in the war. 44. General Lee offered to resign. After the Gettysburg defeat, General Lee offered his resignation to Confederate President Jefferson Davis, who refused it, believing Lee was still essential to the war effort. 45. Gettysburg was the war's costliest battle. Gettysburg wasn't just the bloodiest, it was the costliest battle in terms of strategic loss, manpower, and morale for both sides. 46. Thousands of mini balls were collected later. Children and farmers collected thousands of leftover bullets, mini balls, from the fields years after the war, often selling them as souvenirs. 47. Dead were still found years later. Even years after the war, human remains were occasionally found in remote parts of the battlefield, missed during initial burials. 48. The battlefield became a national park. In 1895, Gettysburg was officially declared a national military park to preserve the site and honor those who fought and died. 49. Gettysburg ghost stories abound. The battlefield is considered one of America's most haunted places. Countless visitors report sightings, sounds, and ghostly presences from the Civil War. 50. Gettysburg still draws millions today. More than 1 million people visit Gettysburg every year to walk the fields, honor the fallen, and learn its enduring lessons of sacrifice and unity. Thanks for watching Buried Truths. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden corners of history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more powerful stories from history's hidden vault. See you in the next video.